Today we're talking about living to be 120 years old. I know I promised I'd talk about that yesterday, but I forgot. Can you believe that? I mean, I just plain forgot. And then somebody reminded me, hey, I thought you were going to talk about living to be 120 years old. So thank you for the reminders, and now I remember. How about that? So what's that all about, living to be 120 years old? Well, I'm going to give you some stuff to study. I won't talk that much about it today because I don't know that much about it. But the concept that I want to introduce you to is called the longevity escape velocity. Longevity escape velocity. And if you just Google that, you'll find all kinds of fascinating information about what longevity escape velocity is. And I'm going to post a link to a YouTube video by Peter Diamandis, who's a futurist and somebody that I study and am fascinated with. And you can watch his whole 30-minute YouTube video from 2018. You can continue watching 2019, 2020. So what is the longevity escape velocity, and how do you live to be 120 years old? And it might excite you to understand how this works, because it's a lot simpler than you think. Here's how you live to be 120 years old. Just make it to 2030. Just get to another 10 years. So for me, all I have to do is get to 75. Now you may have to, right? Maybe you're going to be getting to 65 or 55 or 45 or 35. All you got to do is live another 10 years. And here's what the longevity escape velocity is based on. Right now, the medical technology, healthcare technology, nutritional technology, and I'm talking about everything from, DNA research to cloning to, the devices that make things on the fly. What do you call those things? 3D printers, right? All that kind of technology right now, today, 2020, is operating at a level where if I live one more year, so if I make it to 66, there's enough technology for me to live that's going to be invented in the next year that isn't present today, but it's going to be invented in the next year, let's say 2021. There's going to be enough technology invented in 2021 that's going to give me another year of life. So I can live to 2022, right? I can get an extra year of life based on what's going to be invented. What longevity escape velocity says, it's a theory, of course, is that technology is going to compound. It's basically Moore's law, which, right, is doubles every year. Compounds, it's like doubling the penny every day, right? That technology doubles every year. And of course, that compounding at 100% a year has, one of the examples that Peter talks about in his YouTube talk is in the 1850s. It took about 55 man hours to create the whale blubber to light a room or light a light for 1 hour. 55 hours of labor, combined labor, lots of people, lots of different processes to turn a lantern on for an hour, to burn an hour's worth of whale blubber. And then, of course, that dropped radically when, we turned to petroleum, and dropped again with coal, and, dropped again with, hydroelectric. And now, today, it takes a half a second. It takes a half a second of a human's time, a human's labor, if you add up all the people involved, 1/2 a second to light a room for an hour. Light one light for an hour, which is going to be an LED light, right? Because they're just massively efficient. So it's that kind of acceleration of technology that when it comes to our healthcare, and it's going to be breakthroughs in nutrition, physiology, meditation, 3D printing of organs and blood vessels and bones and cartilage. It's going to be vaccines, it's going to be drugs, it's going to be all of these inventions when you get to the year 2030, when you get to the year 2030, what longevity escape velocity says is that technology will be compounding so fast by 2030 that every year we live beyond 2030, technology will give us another year. So you make another year, as long as you don't get hit by a truck, right? You don't not wear your seatbelt or something, right? Don't fall off a cliff, right? Can't protect you from accidents like that. But in terms of the body's ability to survive in this environment, technology is going to produce at such a compounded level that when you get to 2030, technology is going to take you to 31, and then technology, because it doubled again in 31, will get you to 32, and because technology doubled again in 32, it'll get you to 33. So it's all I have to do is make it to 75, and I can live to be 120, or I don't know, maybe 130 or 140, and you may say, well, that's crazy, but here's some statistics that I think you'll find interesting. There's already in the world recorded 573,000 people that are over 100 years old. 573,000 of them. Because 80, how does that work? 80 is the new 60 or 60 is the new 80. I can't remember how that works. Either way, right? 573,000 people are over 100 years old. But check this out. The United Nations, I don't know where they get their science, but they're obviously paying attention to the compounding of technology. They're paying attention to, the availability of clean water, the availability of food to the world, the availability of healthcare, vaccines, etc. to the world. And here's their prediction. By 2050, now that is 30 years from now. So I'll be 95, I'll be a spry 95-year-old who'll just be kicking around with my 3D feet and my 3D ears and my 3D eyes and my 3D heart valves that they're going to put in, right? I'll be like part bionic. I'm already part bionic. You can't see them. I don't know if you can see them or not. I don't know. You can't see them, right? But last year, I went and had cataract surgery. What does that mean? Did I have cataracts? I had mild cataracts, right? And I guess that's just when the cornea of your eye, the lens just starts to age and it oxidates and it fogs over, right? And there's nothing they can do about it. Nothing at all. Until the longevity escape velocity caught up to cataracts. And what did technology invent? Well, I went under the knife because I got tired of using and buying and finding reading glasses. I mean, I had reading glasses to read my computer. I had reading glasses for doing webinars. I had glasses that had no glare that were expensive for doing webinars. All my sunglasses were bifocals, basically, so I could read my phone and, look out, like read the dash of the car even, right? I got tired of all that. I added up all the money I spent all year long, thousands of dollars on glasses. And anything beyond a reading glasses had to be a prescription, actually, left, right eye, different, right? I was spending a couple of $1,000s a year. So what did I do? I went and spent $8,000 per eye, and I got new lenses. Brand new, perfect 20/20 lenses. And the eye doctor put them in about 5 minutes. Gave me like some rummy-dummy stuff a little bit and put some eye drops in my eye that kind of numbed my eye. And then he said, okay, you're done. Come back a month later and we'll do the next one. Why did they stagger them a month? In case this one went bad and I was blind in the eye, at least I'd have one eye I could see, right? But 2 months later, I had two brand new 20/20 eyes. So I asked the doctor. I said, okay, I had LASIK 15 years ago. That didn't last very long. It took away all my reading vision, basically, and then my distance vision started going too. I said, how long is this going to last? He says your corpse going to have 20/20 vision for as long as these synthetic lenses are in the sockets of your skull. Somebody digs you up 500 years from now or 5,000 years from now, you're going to have 20/20 vision. It never, ever changes. Now, mine does get a little foggy if my eyes get dry, but I don't think that's the lens. That's just dry eyes, right? Think about it, folks. I have 20/20 vision. I'll have 20/20 vision when I'm 120 years old. What created that? Technology. So here's what the United Nations says. In 2050, they predict there'll be 3.7 million people over the age of 100 years old. 3.7 million people over the age of 100 years old. There's 573,000 now. That's like a six-fold increase, 600% increase. They're tapped into the longevity escape velocity. So my question to you is, are you? And here's where the rubber really meets the road. Actually, if you really believe in all this technology stuff, it almost lets us off the hook for taking care of ourselves, because you've only got to make it another 10 years. You make it another 10 years and you're going to be on the free magic carpet ride to living forever. Because of technology. Maybe, right? But here's the thing. Here's the big question. Let's say you can live to be 120. I'm going to ask you here at the end a question about that, a philosophical question about that. But let's say you can live to be 120. How are you going to afford it? How are you going to afford to live to be 100? Have you ever figured that out? Have you ever figured out how long you expect to live? Now, right now, if you live in the United States, your life expectancy is 79 years old. And true to form, 20 years ago, your life expectancy was 69 years old. And 20 years before that, it was 59 years old. So life expectancy has been going up gradually with the decades. But we've never had a quantum leap in it. But the quantum leap is coming in 2030. A quantum leap in the number of people that live to be over 100. Now, if the theory holds true, wouldn't we be able to live forever? Yeah, if the theory holds true, right? And I don't know about that. And I don't even want to speculate about that. My question is, if you live to be 100, and I mean like you get to live, right? You have vitality, like you can move around, you're not like laying in a bed unconscious or something. But if you live to be 100 or 120, how are you going to pay for it? How are you going to afford it? How are you going to support your lifestyle, right? And if the way you have your money set up is like most 401k, most investment people, they say, well, you need to have $1.5 million, and then that'll carry you to the average age that people die. So all these actuaries, the way they work up, retirement is, okay, when you want to retire, let's say I want to retire at 65 years old, and you got $1 million. Well, what they're gonna do is draw down your $1 million until they expect you to die, and they expect you to die at age 79. So how much money is it going to take if you live to be 100? What about 120? If you're surviving on drawdown money, like you're spending 4% a year of your equity, of your asset, in addition to the income it produces, which that's the way most of them are set up. If you got $2 million, you're going to take about $80,000 a year of that equity and spend it to live, plus the interest. So the interest income is gradually going to go down because you're also spending the asset money. But that's all based on you living another 15 or 20 years. What if you live another 40 years? You're going to be broke at age 80 if you follow the investment paradigm's retirement plan. We need to rewrite all of our retirement plan. And don't think about retirement as, the phase of life where you don't work, because we're going to be so vital. And there's going to be so many opportunities going on in the world. There's all kinds of things that we can do to earn money. The question is, what's your plan? What's your plan for how you're going to be vital, how you're going to be mobile, how you're going to be independent and not rely on the government, which is, for sure Social Security to be bankrupt by then. Doesn't mean they won't borrow the money from somewhere else and keep doling out something. But you can't rely on it. We can't rely on it. We can only rely on us. So that's the big question of the day. How are you going to pay for it? How are you going to fund your life if you live to be 100 or 120 years old? And here's the last question of the day I'd ask you to drop in the comments. How long do you want to live? Are you okay with checking out on the average of 80? You want to live another 20 years to 100? Probably factor into your answer who's going to live with you, right? So a lot of you may say, well, if my friends and family aren't with me, what's the point of living? Well, you just spoke a powerful truth about how important relationships are. And maybe that will motivate us to invest more time and energy in improving our relationships if you just figured out they're the most important thing in your life. Because what's the point of living an extra 20 or 30 years if you don't have friends and family around you? Now, if longevity escape velocity is true, well, then they would be with you, right? Only if they didn't make it to 2030. So everybody you really care about, that you really have fun with, that you want to be with, you got to take great care of them for the next 10 years. Everybody's got to wear their seatbelt. Nobody can do anything crazy. Check the blood pressure, check the cholesterol, get rid of the toxins in your home, right? We got to purify our bodies. We got to get rid of stress. We got to eat right. We got to lose weight for at least the next 10 years. I'm pretty sure 10 years from now, they're just going to figure out some kind of pill. I'm excited about that. I can just take a nutrient every day, some kind of little pill, and I'll be perfect blood pressure, perfect cholesterol, and perfect weight. And I can eat whatever I want. I'll be perfect in my physiology for one pill. I just know they're going to invent it. But I got to make it to 75. And what a catastrophe if I didn't. So for me, how long do I want to live? Gosh, I want to live long enough to see Haley's kids have kids. I want to be a great-great-grandfather. I want to see AJ's kids have kids. I want to be a great-great-grandfather. I want to live as long as Kimmy lives. Something happens to Kimmy, probably won't care that much. I want to live as long as Kimmy lives. So Kimmy, how long are you going to live? We'll just go out together, right? We'll pick a date and we'll jump off Sweetheart Rock. And there you go. So my question is, how long do you want to live? And who do you want by your side while you live that long? And you don't need to put the answer in the comments, but you might want to think about how you're going to pay for it. And I'll drop a YouTube link in there for you to watch a video. And if you want to play around with this, just Google longevity escape velocity. Daily dose of salt. See you tomorrow.